Check.
Check. Yeah, it's good. Perfect.
Yeah, I like the basement a lot more than I thought I was gonna. I thought I was 100% gonna be like, no, we have to go to the barbershop and do this. But this is actually,
Yeah. No, it's always a
piece
good
up a couple things here or there in the background as we go. That'll be cool too to look back on stuff. But
yeah, it's funny we got all the band stuff in the background, you know,
which is dope
for a haircutting podcast. But you know, obviously we're the music guys too.
Yep.
We can intertwine some of that. But
yeah. Well, I guess that kind of leads us into it. I mean, just kind of get into the breakdown of what this is, and just barbering podcast. I mean, what's your views from what you want when we kind of started the discussion in the shop with Ant and everything? Just kind of what to expect from this.
Yeah. It's just barbering's been. I'm 28 years old now. My name's Taylor, for those of you who don't know.
Let's do that.
Why don't you introduce yourself, Mike?
Why
don't we introduce ourselves?
I'm Michael Leary, 1/4 of Bugging Out.
Yep.
Barber at Saving Face Barbershop at the Camillus location.
Yep. Taylor Horseman here, another 4th of Bugging Out. But I've been doing hair for basically my whole life. I've had one job. I served ice cream cones for a month. Shout out Pete's Polar Parlor. But other than that, I've been cutting hair my whole life, and it's brought me all over the map. As far as I've opened shops, I've managed people, I've cut all types of hair. Seen my idols cut hair and gotten to learn from them hands on. I've taught people from the ground up who own shops now. I've cut in movies. It's and I don't mean to toot my own horn or anything, but it's been a very cool and rewarding experience. And when Mike brought the idea of kind of sharing some of this info with the world, I thought it was a great idea. I mean, that's kind of been my goal all along. I think what keeps me going is like this industry's done so much for me. I've seen it do a lot for a handful of other people, but I know there's many, many people out there who have so many questions. Not that I or we have all the answers, but we can at least start that conversation of building a community in barbering of like things like, raising our prices, haircut tips, dealing with clients, how to open a shop successfully, and honestly, just BSing and, just barbershop talk.
Just barbershop talk, man.
Yeah.
And I love that you said that too, because we put out, a quick tip on our Instagram about a week ago, and I love what you did with it. I think it was pretty self-explanatory that you were not giving a full haircut to your best of your ability.
About 15 seconds, I think, I spent on that fade.
About 15, 30 tops. Yeah. And it was like more like, don't do fades in 30 seconds, but here's quick tips of how you can make more money, still do good haircuts.
Yeah.
But like, here's some tips to how to like not whatever.
Yeah.
Completely taken the wrong way.
Yeah. Here's how you can do fades faster. It wasn't like this is the perfect fade.
This is how you should fade.
This is the perfect fade in 30 seconds. No.
But that shows the community. Although there's some amazing barbers who do some amazing fades, there's a clear miscommunication in that world. There's a clear toxicity in that world that we saw up front with that.
Oh yeah.
And
there's a lot of pride and ego in barbering, and I'm guilty of it too. I think we all are. I'm not saying I'm immune to that. I think we all share some of these things, but that there is definitely an element of ego in what we do. I mean, each chair is our own little business. Like that's our product walking out of the chair every half an hour at the end of the day, And,
I love that that's where we're kind of going with this is like, look, do me and you claim to sit here and be the best barbers in the world? No, of course not. Of course not, you dumb idiots. We'll blink that one out. Man, do we have something to offer? Of course. Do you have something to offer? I mean, this guy sitting in front of me, how old were you when you opened the manliest shop? Talk
20.
a little bit about how that even came about. So we work at a shop. He owns a shop, Saving Face in Syracuse, New York. I work at the Camillus location. He owns Manlius, part owns Beeville and Saratoga.
Yep. And we're just launching a barber school now, which is the newest thing.
And talk about, I love when you tell the story of you being in California and coming back.
Yeah. So basically I was going to like my mom's hairdresser with her growing up and getting a weird cut. I didn't love the experience, you know?
Yeah.
And then actually, believe it or not, the first person I saw with an edge up was Ryan from the band.
Yes. Yep.
And he had the freaking pointed sideburns. And those are dead now. I can't even remember last time I did a pointed sideburn.
I'll tell you, some of the guys that commented on that video going to their side, there's some pointed edge ups going on out there.
They're
still alive.
So I see this, you know, he's got this freaking crazy haircut. I'm like, where'd you get that? And it was Anthony at Saving Face. This is probably 2009 or 10.
Yep.
And I go in there and just get a cut that I'm ecstatic with. This is also like peak Jersey Shore time, so like the look back then is like so much different than it is now. But you know, we grew up just doing buzz cuts and edge ups and fades, and no one did scissors really, at least not the younger crowd.
I can also tell you, not using scissors, going to some of these guys' profiles, man.
Yeah,
there's some guys out there not using scissors still.
Absolutely.
Continue.
And I was like, wow, this is I just love this haircut. And I within a few days or a week, the edge up was already kind of growing in, the fade was already, I was like, well, I don't want to go to the shop every week. Let me go on YouTube and try and learn how to at least touch up my edge up a little bit, you know. And one thing led to another, and I'm grinding YouTube, and I just get obsessed with things. So I'm watching hours of YouTube for no reason, but anyway, just grinding it. And I get a couple tools, and would get a haircut from Anthony once in a while. But you know, I eventually asked for an apprenticeship. I was like, I freaking love doing this. I'm in high school. I'm just serving ice cream cones now, you know. But it just sounded way cooler, and my dad had dropped me off on my freaking book bag after school, and be cutting these grown men. It's like little kid cutting hair was kind of probably goofy, but you know, long story short, I go to college for a bit. I stopped cutting hair. I'm like, well, I was always good in school. I was like, I got to do the whole college thing, maybe get a desk job, get a business or something like that, and do that for a bit, and probably ended up doing a lot more drinking than I did learning. But go out to California to study music and business out there, thinking this is it. I mean, California, I love music, still do, love anything creative, but music and haircutting was it for me back then, and still is. But go out there, and even Cali is perfect weather. There's no rain, there's no snow. I'm always, you know, we grew up hating Syracuse, you know, and I just didn't feel right. And I don't know what kind of rating PGR we're gonna have for this podcast, but I'm gonna say this next part.
Blink some things out. Yeah.
I did shrooms in California.
Yeah. No. Okay.
And had a bad experience, but it wasn't actually bad. It was I felt horrible, but what it was telling me I was in the wrong place. I wasn't doing the right thing, and when I was finally starting to kind of get my sanity back, it was like, you got to pursue the cutting hair thing. You were good at it. You freaking loved it. And I basically dropped out of school, moved back here, and I was like, I'm going to open a shop. And I loved Saving Face, only shop I've worked at. And I talked to Ant. I'm like, you know, this guy who gave me my first freaking haircut, and now I'm like asking him if he wants to open a shop together. I was like, Ant, like, I want to open a shop. I'd love for it to be with this company, but if not, I'm probably going to be saying goodbye, you know? And I appreciate everything we've done. And he was like super stoked about partnering up together. So,
and how old were you when that happened?
I was, that conversation, I was 19.
Yeah.
I was young.
And then how old were you when the shop finally, from the conversation to the shop opening?
20.
Talk how many months, like for people thinking about opening a shop, kind of break down the steps here.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I was not fully aware of everything that goes into it. I figured, all right, I'm good at cutting hair, and And I know that, 80% of the time, if someone gets in my chair, they're going to come back, So it's a matter of time before the success comes. And, you get some cool guys and girls in a shop, and it's just everyone gets along all the time, and it's fine. You know what I mean? And I wasn't nervous at all. I was like, this is going to be perfectly fine. And I honestly don't think that's normal. I think people are probably pretty nervous when they're opening a shop. I was so confident. And there was a lot of weird paperwork. You need to get building permits. I didn't know what that was. You can't just work on a space. You need to talk to the village, and they have to approve what you're doing. They have to even approve that they'll like your business. You can't even just get a spot. You can't even just get a spot and do whatever you want with it. You have to get that approved by whatever village you're in first. So
wow. Okay. All right. This is what I mean. Please.
Yeah. So there's stuff like that. You can't just put a sign up. You need to fill out 5 pages of paperwork, and it takes a month and a half to get any sort of sign, even an A-frame that you put outside. There's a freaking permit for that. Anthony had to go to court. He got fined hundreds of dollars for having an A-frame out front of Camillus. They're sticklers with little things. I
hope a lot of people are listening right now, because I am one of them. I've approached you guys about going to North Carolina and stuff, and I'll be honest, in my mind, it's a pretty quick,
super easy.
It's a very quick, easy process.
I'm really good at this. It's going to be easy because I'm really good.
I know a few people down there. I'm good. It'll travel pretty quick. You guys invest the money, let's get to it. Nah, I didn't know they had to approve the town that you're in. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, you think, oh, you put some chairs in there, you get a hot towel warmer. I don't know. What else do you need, right? It's it can't be that expensive to open a shop. I mean, it's a lot more money than I thought to open a shop. I mean, a good year's salary or more for most people kind of money to open a shop. It's at least to do it in a way that looks halfway decent.
So talk about that too, because obviously there's a lot of barber shops where you are in just a room, chairs. I was just in New Jersey.
No decorations.
I was in New Jersey this weekend, and the town I was in, it almost felt like every 4 or 5 shop fronts was a barber shop, but it was like that though. You know what I mean? It wasn't like our shops where there's a clear attention to detail.
Yeah.
So investing in a shop, standing out as a barber shop, I'm sure that's a lot of conversations and you had when you were starting.
Mm-hmm.
You can open one. Talk about standing out in this world though, because it's inevitable. Whatever side of town, if you're in a city of 200K or more people, whatever side of town you're on, there's gonna be some competition. You're not just gonna be the only one. So talk about just standing out in this world.
Well, I think, and I don't think this necessarily just applies to barbering, but it's a great quote. The difference between good and great is in the details. There's a lot of people that can cut good hair, but there's not a lot of people who make you feel great just walking in the shop. Hey, how you doing? How's the kids? Little moments like that. There's not a lot of shops where you walk into a barber shop and there's no hair on the floor. Things like that. There's not a lot of places that offer you a cup of coffee for free. There's just little things, even just the way the shop looks, you can spend 10 grand on a shop, or you can spend a lot more than that. And, up front, does that hurt? Yeah. But at least with Manlius, we really did it the right way. I basically put every dime I had into it. I mean, I was, again, 19. I didn't really have anything to lose. I was still living at home, actually. Yeah. But I'll tell you, we never really had a slow time. We pretty much took off right away. And I do think those details are what made us stand out.
For all businesses, I think that's exactly it. If you think about what comes to mind immediately for me is food spots, right? Mm-hmm. If there's a bartender at some bar, they have the best wings in town, and the bartender just makes you feel weird when you order it.
Yeah.
You're gonna eventually stop going there. There's no amount of wings, unless, I mean, some people might do it. Me being like kind of a self-conscious person, I will stop, and I have done that. There's like places I won't go in because I know there's a front desk girl that makes me feel really weird and awkward, like we have a bad interaction.
Yeah.
But there's places I'll keep going because it's like, hey man, they were like, there's a Chipotle right in Camillus in the downtown that we live in, and I choose there over core because the core people just like make me feel like a big dumbass for like what I order. The Chipotle, there's a couple people on the line, bro, I haven't seen you in a while, like what's good?
Yeah.
I'm like, it's just Chipotle, but like that matters. Like they remember
those relationships.
Me. Yes. Yeah. That's important. So whatever business you're doing, sometimes it can beat the life out of you for some strange reason to like act like people are people. That is very important. If you're in customer service, it's what you sign up for. And I think you and John at our shop, John's been very good with like helping me realize like, if you're in this job, like that's what you sign up for. Like, no, people act like a no days off thing is like, and you're allowed to have bad days, of course.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, they're paying a lot of hard earned money. It's like us, like going to get a good meal. Like you still want a good meal. Like I'm paying money, I earned this. So like same deal with the haircuts, you know?
Right.
And just like you don't have to go out of your way and remember everybody's kids and what they're doing. It's just like a matter of like, I don't even know. It's very minuscule things. The bar's not that
even
high.
Just greeting people. Like a lot of places you walk in and you don't even get greeted.
I noticed that about you. We don't do that well.
Yeah.
Everybody that walks through, you're like, hey man, how we doing? We got an appointment. I've tried to adapt that a little bit more because I've noticed everybody that walks through, if anyone's gonna do it, it's gonna be you. Like everybody you greet.
Yeah.
And that's important. That
Falls
is
on the owner.
You don't make them feel like a dummy because there's other places you go in, they're like what
do you have an appointment?
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
That
sucks.
sucks.
Like, hey, how we doing? You know? Yeah.
So those...
One thing to note too with you saying just putting on, we all have our bad days, but still trying to make an effort even when it feels hard to just make those little moments with people. You know, some people it comes really naturally. Like I think you're gifted socially naturally, and a lot of these things really you could teach people about just the customer service side of it, and you have no formal training in that. You just know how to do it. You just connect with people. I've learned that, but I didn't start off that way. I was a very awkward kid for a long time. I think this job brought that out of me, and I say that to say, if you're listening now and you're thinking about being a barber and you're like, well, I'm creative, I like making stuff look good with my hands, whatever, but like I'm just kind of awkward. Like, don't let that scare you. This brought a lot out of me communication wise. I wouldn't be the person I am if it wasn't for all that. And if you are gifted, you're just gonna excel. So
and you got to lean into who you are in whatever field you're in, right? Like with our field, you can be quiet and introverted and still succeed in this business because your clientele will mold to who you are. So like say your conversational skills aren't going to be as great as the guy next to you. Well, you better figure out what type of haircuts you really like doing. And you better start murdering them. You better start killing them, because then the people that do that cut, they'll keep coming back to you, and there will be people that like that cut that don't really want to talk to you.
Yeah.
Which is good, but also like don't be rude. It's just little things like just don't be rude. You don't have to talk to people the whole time and whatever.
No, you don't.
But
some people don't want to talk.
Yeah,
either.
some people don't. Some people do not want to talk, which is okay. It's just don't be rude to them.
Yeah.
And if you're not a talker either, don't be rude about it. I know it's hard, but like, just be like, hey, like, how's it going? And
That's
then you
all.
don't have to like continue
just do that,
from there.
and you can read it from there if they're like, good.
Yeah.
All right. That's it.
If you're having a bad day, like I've had to learn that in myself. It's like I get scared of dead space.
Yeah.
It's okay to have dead space. Like it's totally, it's okay. Some people want that.
You know what else is good too that a lot of people don't think of? They think that we almost feel like we're therapists in a way. Like we're barbers, but we're also... people can vent to us, and we have to just eat that and be that sponge. I vent to my clients all the time.
Yeah.
And obviously I've been cutting a lot of the same people for a long time, but even like if I get like just a seasoned just a dude in my chair. I'm like, this guy has seen some stuff, and I'm going through something, be like, dude, here's what I'm dealing with. What do you think of this? You know what I mean? And I have I'll make a client from that for life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Because I don't know, just don't be scared to open up and like you said, be yourself at work. We don't always have to wear a mask. Like, I think this is one of the few industries where you can truly just be yourself. I mean, you got to be polished. You got to be, on your best behavior to an extent, but you can be who you are at your core, and people will respect you. Like, it's not like even going, sorry to all the dentists out there, but it's not like going to the dentist. You're like, all right, got to get this done. Like, people, for the most part, I think, look forward to going to the barber,
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
It's a little different in that way.
Lean into you. Also, like, I was listening to a podcast or a YouTube video pretty recently. You'll find that with me as we go on with this. I'm always listening to a YouTube video or a podcast. But
Me too.
So I listened to something that was like, you know what? It wasn't even that. It was my therapist. My therapist told me, I was like talking about being in the shop and not like having the energy or whatever to like having a weird week. This is like a couple months ago. I can't remember exactly what was happening, but I just remember us getting to this place where she was like, faking it till you make it is actually can be good for your brain. Like it's a balance. Like, there is times you have to like feel your emotions and be like, I'm not okay right now, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But she's like, you acting interested in people's conversations sometimes can trigger a part of your brain that actually does get interested.
That's interesting.
And that was very interesting to me. And I've noticed that of like the days I haven't wanted to go to work since we had that convo. I'm like, I probably do really need to be there though on this day more than ever, because I maybe need to trigger this part of myself to like it's okay. I don't want to fall in a rut right now. And normally it's like just going to work, man. And if you love barbering, not even the social aspect, just barbering, man, just getting lost in your cuts, like it can be therapeutic, not even talking to people, but just cutting and giving conversation a try. Like, if you're not a conversationalist person, just giving conversation a try. Like, you don't have to end up being, a podcaster someday or any, you know what I mean? You don't have to become like this amazing speaker, but man, it's going to help you. You know what I mean? If you lean into it a little bit and try, be yourself with it, it's going to help you. 'Cause I've noticed whether it's us on the phone, talking to friends, whether it's in business meetings, whether it's on dates, whether it's just being at a bar and like, nudging next to somebody and now we're talking. It's like being a barber helps so much in conversation outside of the shop. Being able to, you're almost like, you get so familiar with your stories and you just know where to go, like in conversation. So lean into the conversation as much as you can. But yeah, I think the main thing, lean into yourself and
that can be more important than a haircut even sometimes. Like you said with the Chipotle example, like even if, and I'm not saying this is true, but let's say you prefer the food slightly somewhere else, but your guy works at Chipotle, like you're going to Chipotle.
Bro, there's a lot of people. I've been doing this in the shop for 5 years now. I would say the last year or two, I feel pretty solid. Like I'm pretty good. There's certain haircuts I feel like I'm excellent at. Some I'm still like, I'm okay. There's people I give okay haircuts to. Like for some reason I can't figure out their hair texture or whatever.
But they're sold on me.
But they love me.
Yeah.
And I love them.
Yeah.
And they're never going anywhere.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So
yep.
That stuff is really important, man. And it's not just a barbering thing.
Yeah.
If you're in a spa, if you own a bar, if you're a bartender, if you're working retail, if you're in an office, even. I've had friends of mine, who have gotten jobs over people who have degrees from elite schools and they didn't have a degree. They've gotten it because I have a friend who literally told me word for word. He's like, my boss told me when he gave me the job, he's like, look, man, we could have went with 4 other people. They all have great degrees, whatever. We want to be around you every day, though. Like, those people don't have anything to offer us on a day-to-day. We can teach you the job.
Yeah.
We can teach you.
I enjoy working with you. That's big.
It's huge.
That's huge.
You guys have done that.
Customers will enjoy working with you.
You guys have done that, no doubt.
Yeah.
You guys have definitely hired people.
Based on personality. Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll cut.
Cool.
No, not yet. We're still gonna go. I just heard this like turn off though. Okay. Card's full. All right, so we'll just stick with this one. We'll start wrapping it up.
Cool.
But yeah, I know you guys have hired people just based off like, are you a good person or not? You know, so
Yeah.
just keep that in mind with all this stuff. But I think that's the main thing about this pod right now for us is like, we kind of hit on it at the beginning with like the culture of barbering, but mainly doesn't matter what field you're in. A lot of these fields are very similar, whether it's trades, whether it's retail, whether it's the corporate world, like, there's a lot of things to be learned from all areas of life, and I think like really just us kind of bringing the barber side of it. You know, I'm down to be mistaken. I don't know any barber podcasts. Obviously, I know they probably exist, but
no. So this is, you know, obviously brand new, and I can see this going a lot of ways, but I know me personally with podcasts, I love hearing guests, and I think there's a lot of unique voices in barbering. Like, we're seeing a huge rise in like women barbers and barbers that are women that are interested in getting into barbering. So I think, you know, there's people from different cultures, different states, and who have just, we all have that in common of we cut hair, but it's just such a different experience based on where you are and who you are. And I think getting some different voices on here at some point would be cool. And, you know, we touched on a lot today. It was very natural, but you know, if we're going to come up with some different things to talk about too. But I mean, if the listeners out there have any suggestions of like, oh my God, I really want to know more about this, you know, please let us know. And, you know, again, we'd be happy to at least open up the conversation if we don't.
And beyond like haircut tips, but like just business tips. Like, you know, this guy right here, I mean, this is no joke. Like, this guy really gets busy in the business room. I know you like, I mean, just us being in a band, I've seen your mind on the behind the scenes side, so definitely like an important person too, like with questions and like, you know what I mean. So just make sure, you know, if you made it this far in the podcast, man, like just leave comments. Hopefully, you know, people kind of ride along on the journey. And I was like, yeah, we won't use this one. We're definitely we're definitely using this one.
Great, yeah.
We're definitely using this one. But yeah, we'll close out on Michael Leary, Saving Face Barbershop in Camillus, New York.
Yeah, closing out. Taylor Horseman here, Saving Face. Peace.
Yeah, man, that's gonna be a keeper right there, my brother. 28 minutes too.